So what I put together today is 10 must-read books to level up your financial skill. Most of these are about personal finances, but it also bleeds into business finances as well. I'm going to put all the links to buy them from Amazon in the description. What I will say is a lot of these have very similar principles. Invest in the S&P 500, manage your debt as much as possible, and try and align your financial goals with your life goals. But I think there's value in reading and rereading these same principles in a different way, and it will allow it to click in your brain. The first book is The Millionaire Next Door, written by Thomas J. Stanley. This is really the fundamentals of personal finance, and he also talks about simple habits that you can try and incorporate in your day-to-day life. And his big thing is forgetting about what you think success looks like: flashy cars, big house, designer brands, and trying to actually align those with what is important to you and what is important to making money. The next one is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This is actually also on Netflix, or this guy does a Netflix documentary as well, which is quite interesting to check out. He also does like a step-by-step program to help you increase your personal wealth and create those proper habits that you need. His focus is on being fun and relatable and as little effort as possible. The next one is Psych Yourself Rich by Farnoosh Torabi. This one is kind of a mix between psychology and practical personal finance tips, and I love these types of books the best. Understanding behavioral finance and how it might be impacting you and how it can impact those around you. And he talks a lot about building financial confidence. So the next one is called The Millionaire Mind, also by Thomas J. Stanley, and is a follow-on from his previous book, The Millionaire Next Door. He looks into the minds of wealthy people, how they think, how they act, what they buy, what they spend their money on, where they invest their money, things like that, to try and help you as though you're talking to your millionaire neighbor next. Next one is The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach. He looks at how much of your money is going to waste, what habits have you formed which are not serving you so well. He also really promotes paying yourself first, which is very similar to the Profit First method, which I use with a lot of my clients. He talks a lot about habits and systems over pure willpower. So setting up your environment, setting up specific processes that you don't have to actually go in and do them every single week or month. But they're already set up for you so that you don't have to use any of your willpower to. The next one is The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. His big thing is financial independence, so trying to avoid debt, trying to gain as much passive income as you can. And he tries to simplify everything, so simplifying your money management, simplifying your investment strategy, make it all as simple and clear as possible. The next one is Debt Free by 30 by Jason Anthony. This one's really related about debt obviously, and is for those who have debt, either student loan or other business loans that they're trying to pay off, and how you can manage those in a different way, and trying to get rid of your debt as quickly as you possibly can in a sensible way, in a way that's going to cost you the least amount of money. The next one is Your Money or Your Life by Vicki. She talks a lot about the relationship between money and your personal goals and wants, and she's trying to change the way that you think so that it's not only about how much money you get or what successes you get quantifiably, but it's also the non-monetary values in life that are important, and trying to reframe your mindset around that whilst also getting as wealthy as you can. It's essentially rethinking what enough looks like for you. And Then we have a classic, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It talks about a rich dad and a poor dad and the different mindsets that they have and the different lessons that they teach him as a kid, and what we can learn from those different ways of looking at money and what an asset is and what's worth it and things like that. The final one, which is my absolute favorite, is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. He really talks about the psychology of what we spend on, what we think is important. One of the really interesting things that came out of that book for me is surrounding mortgages and how a lot of people have the goal to completely pay off their mortgage or completely pay off their house. And actually, from a purely financial perspective, that's not necessarily the best use of money, but from a psychological, from a mindset thing, for a lot of people, that's like the ultimate goal. And that makes them feel super secure. And, you know, if anything happens, at least I have my house. And I think these things are really important to think about when you read these financial books, because a lot of them are very focused on what is the ultimate best financial outcome without necessarily taking into consideration the emotions around that. And with money, there are lots. So I just wanted to give you one bonus book, which is more related to business and not necessarily finances, but how you structure things. And it's how I structure my business as well. So I'm going to grab it from my bookshelf. And this book really changed how I do business, and these principles, even though I have a small team, are what I use for everything. And it's always what I recommend to clients. So if there's one book that you read from this list, it should be this one, Traction by Gino Wickman. And it's kind of written for larger enterprises, and it assumes that you have a team who are going to carry out specific tasks. But it's still super useful even if you're a one-man band, to be honest. I think that every business owner should read this book and implement as much of this as you possibly can into your business. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe